The next match is Razor Ramon and Bob Backlund.
Yes. Razor Ramon looks so good.
He does.
This WrestleMania.
He looks like such a baddie,
doesn't
like
he?
Miami drug dealing monster,
doesn't he? He's a sort of Scarface-esque Cuban, played by Scott Hall, who was from Florida, but who did it brilliantly. He is so good here. This match is always seen as being one of the worst matches around, and partly it's Bob Backlund was the WWF champion in the 70s, and he...
Pretty good, Nick.
Backlund in this match, I think, is about 43, which could be, Pete, let's face it, about 3 months older than I am now. And he's portrayed as being this old man out of step, and he came from a different era. For 8 years, he'd really disappeared. He just hadn't done anything other than keep in shape. So what they did was they brought him back here. He was really fit, and what they didn't want was people on steroids.
Yeah.
And Backlund was absolutely the safest pair of hands for not being on steroids out of everyone. He didn't like Hulk Hogan for that reason. He was, slightly against the way the business was going.
Yeah.
They bring him back here, and it just doesn't work.
No.
It's the first time, really, a WrestleMania crowd chant for the bad guy.
But during this match, it's probably Heenan who basically says, if you want to learn some backstage interviews and things like that, call a hotline.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise there was like a WWE money grab kind of hotline, basically, where you ring up and...
We're also, ladies and gentlemen, mention the WrestleMania 9 live hotline, live as we speak, and Raymond Rougeau talking to Doink the Clown at this time.
Wait a minute. Raymond Rougeau is talking to Doink the Clown?
That's what I said on the hotline.
Then if he's under the ring, how can he be talking to Raymond Rougeau? An illusion. Wake up and smell the roses.
It reminds me of when I used to be a kid, and every summer, as a Newcastle United supporter, I would ring Club Call.
Yeah.
And you'd phone up and he'd go, welcome to Club Call. Calls charged at 42 pence per minute. It's also standard rate and all that stuff. And then they just keep you on the line as long as possible. So, possibly coming to the Premiership with Newcastle United is Roberto Baggio. Talks are continuing. And this was funded by the club, and they knew who was coming in and going out the club. But they just put rumours on this line you had put together.
I used to be obsessed with the Pro Wrestling Illustrated hotline. And what they did was, we didn't used to get WCW here. When satellite TV came in, you could often pick it up on the German channels. But this is only 93, 94. Prior to that, if you wanted to find out what the results of Starrcade were, I used to have to ring that. And basically, my dad had got an itemised bill back, and he was like, what the fuck is this?
This number, And
I was like, oh, God, I'm really embarrassed. And he was like, this is one of these chat lines. No, it's...
0898 50 50 50
50 50. He was really slightly disappointed when I went, no, it's Pro Wrestling Illustrated. He's like, oh, this fucking shit.
The one that I used to ring was, I used to read like graphic adventures like Monkey Island stuff. And
video tips lines.
Yeah, and you'd ring up and you'd be like, press 1 to find out how to grab the rope from the tree. And it was just, I mean, it wouldn't take the mick, but it would still be 40 pence per minute. I used to spend, I mean, the games would be 40 quid, 35 quid. And I used to spend at least that on the line.
It was impossible not to spend. I remember I'd do it and I'd be looking to see if my dad was around, and I'd get onto it and he'd just dial that number and it would go, you've got through to the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Wrestle line. The number 1 for... And, oh, God. And it would do that slow thing of, press 1 for newest results. Click. And it goes, so, Starrcade, hey? And it's like, get to it. Get to it.
Hey, gang, have you heard the latest?
Hey, humanoids, wake up.
It's the Brain on the hotline.
And I've got it all right here.
Call the biggest names in wrestling on the WCW hotline.
And I'm going to tell you things you won't believe.
What we can't say on TV, you can hear on the hotline. Call right now, the WCW hotline.
Oh, fantastic. Razor Ramon finishes the match by going, me, one more for the bad guy. And I've no idea what any of that means. It's just he went mad. Me, one for the bad guy.
The best thing about that is it's such a boring match, and then Razor Ramon beats him with a small package, like he's beat the wrestler with wrestling.
Right, okay,
And if you were Bob Backlund, you'd have gone, I don't know what's going to happen to me now. This seems like it's over. And Razor Ramon is genuinely pleased by the way that everyone's reacting. Again, because Backlund is just, to the audience, a flabby man who's 43, who they're seeing against a real-life cartoon character. Why would you care? Backlund, actually, he becomes great, where he said it came from him, but he basically said, can I be a bad guy? Can I be a bad guy? Because he said everyone that they like now is, as far as I'm concerned, on steroids and horrible, and they're full of shit. and he said, I'm nice, and why don't I just keep being nice and make them hate me for being nice?
Yeah.
And he ends up having a run that he becomes, after 8 years totally in the wilderness, he becomes, in 1994, the hottest heel that WWF have.
Really?
And they make him the champion again.
How does he do that, though, as like a nice guy?
He just does it by berating people, by saying, you know, you like them, you should be liking me. It was so well done.
Where are we, Pete?
Oh, I don't actually know. Don Quixote?
The Don Quixote bar to see Pandemonium Pro Wrestling. I'm going to show this up because I've already been in, so you can't use the QR.
Don't show the QR
It's
code.
too late. What are they going to do? Go back in time? Don't go back in time.
Don't go back in time.